Welcome to GC Cars. My name is Eric.
And I'm Jesse.
And this is the all-new GMC Canyon Denali. Canyonero.
Nero?
Canyonero. Simpsons. Canyonero.
I don't know it, sorry.
Oh, you do not know Canyonero? No. Oh my god, he's in for a treat. No. Anyhow, that's the all-new GMC Canyon Denali, all-new generation. Fun fact, exactly 3 years ago, to the day, I reviewed the last generation GMC Canyon. So, life is a loop, a circle, I don't know, whatever the message of that is.
Yeah, something like that.
We're gonna take a look at the exterior first, and we're gonna take a look at the interior, and then we're gonna drive it to see how it compares to all the other trucks out on the market. But let's start off. What do you think of the exterior, Jesse?
Well, first of all, we got this Onyx black. It's black. Nothing
it is
home
black.
out there. It's showing a lot of swirls and scratches
Scratchy
here.
black.
Something that you
Wasn't
get
nice.
with black. But this front end is very different. So we're keeping true to the GMC front end with this light here.
Right.
But we're kind of splitting it up here, which is not seen on the other trucks.
Right, on the Sierra, it's kind of like one continuous line.
It's like a loop.
Here, it is very aggressive. I don't know how this is going to age. I could see us looking back at this in 15 years and be like, oh, this is kind of looking awful. Right now, though, I think it's kind of interesting. I'm down for it.
One thing I got to talk about, though, is this. Like,
oh, yeah, that grill.
I don't know if you can see this. We'll cut this in B-roll, but yeah, I don't know.
That grill flexes like a solid inch.
Like, that's something you're not going to flex on the haters with that one.
I'm just going to assume, for their benefit, that it's pedestrian impact safety. I have no idea, though. So
maybe we'll test it out today. I'll run over Eric.
Oh, probably no. Wheels, honestly, whatever.
Nothing to write home about.
There's a lot of like whatever here. It's a truck. There's not too much you can do. Let's talk about these steps.
I don't understand, why would you put chrome,
Plastic chrome,
which is gonna flake. It's not real chrome. It's plastic.
Yeah.
On a thing that you're gonna step on. It's gonna get hit with debris from the road.
Yeah.
That's not gonna age well.
It's always like it's already like got water spots on it. It's like.
I hate chrome as it is, but especially on a surface you're gonna step on.
And the steps is weird because the height is weird.
We'll talk about that later, but the
Let's talk about it
material is kind of weird.
I do like the rear three-quarter panel, nice and angular, really cool.
And the rear is kind of nothing really to write home about. It's
yeah.
the standard.
It's a Denali, it's a GMC. We don't get the fancy multi-pro tailgate that you can get on the Sierras or anything. So if you want to step into this,
well, you got a little step up here.
You got to step on the side. But 41.9 cubic feet of space, which is like 0.6 more than the last generation. But yeah, I mean, it's a truck at the end of the day. What really matters for a Denali, I think, is the interior. Should we do that?
How it is.
Alrighty, what was that sound? Oh no.
That sound was the worst door panel I've ever seen in my entire life.
Mercedes, you just got a new friend in the quality, in the club of terrible build quality.
That is, oh yeah.
Yeah, so this, we can show you beautiful. Look at that. Look at the flex. Like, listen, GMC, not everything is bad in here, but there's like this spot.
The
really
spot
bad.
that you're going to touch every time you go in and out of the car. I don't think that's going to last. I think that's going to break.
You are allowed to reinforce the door panel.
Oh.
Guys, come on. Like, seriously? We gave Mercedes a lot of shit for this, so we have to give you shit for this. Moving beyond that, let's go visual first.
Okay, so
visually kind of cool. Actually,
it's kind of cool. Me and Eric differ a little bit on this.
Yes.
I go into this interior and I'm kind of confused. I feel like this interior doesn't know what it wants to be.
Right.
You go from hard plastic to hard fake aluminum to a nice wood, then to a nice soft touch leather, then to hard plastic, then to piano black, then to a camo printed rubber.
So I generally like this interior. First of all, I want to point that out. I acknowledge it is not what it's not quite what I expect from a Denali, especially.
Yeah,
that's but like at least make it soft touch. Like, come on. The wood that we have, this one's edged.
This is really nice, even though the Denali logo is not straight.
It's a little crooked, yeah.
But it's nice.
And like even in here, that is really nice. The leathers that we do have are really nice, feel good. I don't know. It's a little
out
weird.
there.
And yeah, and rather than having this nice, I would have had.
Yeah, because you're not really going to touch this, right? This is like when you get into an accident, you're going to hit the soft edge. No, I'm kidding.
Well, hopefully not when the airbag works. But let's talk about comfort. Seats. I like the seats how they look, and I think they're very comfortable.
Very comfortable.
Heated and ventilated, which is really nice. The steering wheel is really good. I like the modernized buttons, although I'm a little confused because there's no back button. Like if I go into my phone menu, I'm like, how do I get out of this? and I just wait. I just wait until it.
What if you hit up again?
I'm afraid that I'm calling someone. Otherwise, God, I love the tech in this. I love this infotainment setup. This is probably my favorite one so far. First of all, this is the new General Motors Android Automotive.
It's fast.
Infotainment. It's very fast. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, wireless, integrated, Google Assist, Google Maps, so you can just log in and have all that ready. It is very quick to respond. It looks good, but this gauge cluster is
really nice. Really nice.
So all the regular digital gauge cluster modes, I find them a little convoluted. There's a lot going on. I'm not a biggest fan, but I can get Google Maps in there, or alternatively, my own Google Maps that's Android Auto based. I'm not even connected with that's just my Android Auto Maps in here, so I see all my stuff. I even have the dark mode enabled. Right?
I love that.
It is so nice, and because I always have this on my music, right, or my music or my media, whatever I'm playing. So usually, even if I have a digital gauge cluster, I don't have the map here. I don't have the map anywhere because you can't have that in most cars. So here I can have my media and my Google Maps all the time. It gives me so much information. The amount of times in this week I was able to re-navigate or take a shortcut somewhere that I wasn't aware it existed, but I can see it in my maps. Beautiful, guys. Wonderful. Love this so much. Very usable. HVACs are still all physical, which is really important. Speaking though of all physical, why the heck did you guys think it was a good idea to put our light controls into the infotainment? Yeah. There's, first of all, there's space here. And if this screen ever fails, hopefully it doesn't, you lost all control over your lights. Because
it's not even about failing. It's lights are something you might want to adjust while you're driving on the go.
Yeah, sometimes you turn them off and you drive and you're like, oh shoot. So now let's say I'm in Android Auto. I gotta go up here. Fair enough, they have the shortcut, but still, it's just let me just switch, guys. Physical switches for the most important things here. Bose audio system is pretty decent. Piano black. That is very scratched.
Don't get me started.
Very scratched.
Don't get me started.
Very scratched. No digital gauge, digital rearview mirror. I think that would have been nice because most GM products have it. They didn't do that. A sunroof that is nicely sized. Back seats though. What do you think?
Comfortable, kind of upright.
Yeah.
But comfortable. No heated or ventilated rear seats.
Yeah, we do lose out on the wood. It becomes plastic as well. And the trim.
Cup holder that's kind of hard to access.
Yeah, they didn't put a little loop there. It's just you kind of have to jam your fingers in and just kind of pull out. My criticism is the lack of storage. There's no in-seat storage. Even if you flip up the seats, there really isn't much storage.
You put little stuff in there.
Very little stuff because it's kind of all built with setup and metal and all that stuff. So once you really actually start putting stuff into this that you don't want to have in your open bed if you don't have a cover,
it's limited.
It's very limited. I mean, we took it to the range yesterday and really because we are obviously not going to leave spicy stuff out in the back.
There wasn't room for a passenger.
Yeah, it was just us two. No way you can fit anyone else in there. Of course, you can buy a cover that's lockable, and then you don't have that issue. Just want to point out because the Silverado and so on, they're bigger, but you have in-seat storage and so on. But I think it's time for us to hit the road and see if this four-banger is good enough.
Jack. Don't you come back. No,
well, we will come back after this transition. All right, out in the GMC Canyon, we found another spot. Shall you demonstrate?
Oh, okay. With my pinky.
I said this
Oh, it gets worse. Oh, wow.
I said this is not as bad as Mercedes. I think I take that back. Oof.
Yeah, you need to give it CPR.
Sorry, guys.
It's terrible.
GMC. No. Anyhow, we always start off with a launch. So we are in drive, four-wheel drive. There's no sport mode. So just going to brake torque it and see what this four-cylinder can do. There's the turbo.
Took a bit there.
Yep. It's fine. I don't mind it.
My head didn't move very much, but...
My head didn't move very much either, but let's go back into too high for our fuel economy. So yeah, the big thing about this generation of the Canyon is that we lose the V6. This used to be V6
Seems like
powered.
a common theme these days.
Yeah, and now we have a 2.7 liter four-cylinder, turbo four-cylinder, producing 310 horsepower, up 2 horsepower from the V6. and 430 pound-feet of torque, up about 150 pound-feet of torque compared to...
I didn't really feel that torque though. Right?
It doesn't feel that
No,
torquey.
I
It
don't
doesn't
feel it.
feel as torquey, to be fair. Maybe you got a tow for that, which tow rating is up 100 pounds to 7,700 pounds, as spec'd in this GMC Canyon Denali for crew cab and short bed, obviously. I don't mind the 4-cylinder, I'll be honest. Like the V6 was very fuel inefficient. I didn't really like it. We get more power here. Both of them sound like garbage. Like the
What's
V6.
our fuel economy right now?
So our fuel economy is combined for me 13.2, which is a lot of city. Like about half of this is in traffic, so you can get it down. It's not great.
And some idling today.
Some idling, but it's still a truck, right? It's still a truck at the end of the day, so we won't be able to have like the best fuel economy anyway. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I can live with it though. The 8-speed automatic is pretty good though. I find it's always shifts fairly smooth. I like it, but how about we do a bit of a handling test?
Let's see.
All right, setting up. Woo! There's the torque. And two-wheel drive power me out. Yeah, two-wheel drive actually powers me out. Nice. For a truck, completely fine.
Yeah, I mean,
Body roll a little bit, but actually handled fairly good. Like that's all I need.
you're definitely not going to be towing around corners like that.
We just like just pull us back in the field. Yeah, drivetrain. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I'm okay with it. It drives fine. Like the 8-speed, as you can see, I can modulate the gear very well with my throttle. It kind of does very intuitively know what I want. But do you want to drive?
Yeah, let me step behind the wheel.
Oh, before we forget, we meant to talk about the steps, right? So the weird thing about the steps is, like, I like them when getting in and out. But when I get out, like, I put my foot on that step, and then suddenly I have my chest right by my knee, so I just kind of feel like I'm crammed.
I find myself deciding whether to use a step or just bypass it.
Yeah,
It's kind of like...
bypassing I find is quite hard, because then it's a really big step down.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's not really a big issue, it's just something I notice. Like, every time I get out of this truck, I'm like, I feel awkward.
So, small note, I kind of like the brakes.
The brakes are good, right? I like the calibration of everything. Steering is well calibrated, braking is well calibrated.
I just feel loose plastics on the steering. Like, I don't know, I'm triggered.
That's where you get a good sound system.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about ride quality, though. I mean,
It's a truck.
it's a truck. It's never going to ride super well. I was never uncomfortable. If you're on the highway and the pavement has like interval imperfections, or like when it's built on like small segments, then you can feel those bumps very noticeably. But overall, like right now, of course, this is a great road.
It's a nice road, yeah.
It is very good. In the city, I found it to be about as comfy as I can expect it from a regular truck that's not like an off-road truck.
Not a Raptor.
Not a Raptor. They usually drive a little better. And for noise, once you're on the highway, it does get a little noisy.
It's not the best.
But country speeds out here, I find it actually very quiet. There's very little road noise going on. A bit of wind noise.
I just find myself creaking this plastic the whole time. I'm triggered, guys.
You're very
Sorry,
triggered.
I'm triggered.
But let's not trigger you further by talking about tech.
Tech's, like we said, the tech's very good.
Yeah, like the interior tech is really good. We get a head-up display, which is nice. And in terms of like driving tech, you have the usual stuff. So you have emergency frontal braking, you have a blind spot monitoring system, you do have lane keep, so no lane centering, meaning if you exit the lane, it'll steer you back.
Which personally I don't use.
I don't use that system either. Like I just don't like it. And we have adaptive cruise control, which works pretty well. In a traffic jam, you have to hit the gas pedal or the resume for it to resume, so it doesn't auto resume if you come to a stop. But otherwise,
that's typical.
Yeah, that's pretty typical. Otherwise, good systems in here.
And for parking, you have some pretty good camera options.
Yeah, so they're not the highest resolution, but you have wheel options. All the wheels you can see. You have front, rear.
Which I know you like the wheel camera.
I love the wheel cameras.
He complains anytime he doesn't have it.
Yeah, I love wheel cameras.
He's not a very good parker, clearly.
Debatable.
Yeah. Yesterday I had to pull up onto an island just to get out of a parking spot.
One time. Anyhow.
Never gonna live it down.
Never gonna live it down. But no, that's a terrible segue. I wanted to say, like, is the Canyon living down its price? Actually, it's not a terrible segue.
No.
Of $63,873 Canadian. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Like, it's the top spec, but
But guys, you gotta pay for quality.
yeah, if I hear that, I'm like,
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I don't think that's acceptable at any price point.
like it's just midsize. Trucks are in just such a weird spot because
It is,
you can get a mid-trim Silverado for this price, or maybe a few grand more, which has a lot more capability. Yes, you won't have the nice wood, maybe, and maybe not the squeaky leather, but otherwise, it's just a kind of a better truck. Like, do you need more capability? If you really don't need more capability, okay. This is still, I still like this. Like, I think it drives very well. The cabin is, aside from some of the build quality issues, very nice. I love the tech in here. And what also needs to be considered in the price is that, of course, this exists as a Colorado as well.
Yes.
Same truck, different badge, slightly different interior, of course, and all that, different styling. But it's fully spec'd out. That one comes out at about 58. Okay, so we're saving about 5K. The interior is extremely similar. We might not have the wood, we might not have, like I said, some of the leathers, but
5-6K is 5-6K.
5-6Ks in. We have a new Ranger. We haven't tested that yet. Review coming up, so make sure to like and subscribe for that. Of course, there's Tacoma.
The brand new Tacoma, which we haven't driven as well.
We haven't driven because Toyota doesn't like us, unfortunately. Apparently.
Definitely bad though, and they really updated their interior components.
Yes. What I like, a truck that's very out there, but I really like is the Nissan Frontier though. It is very no frills, but it's got all the basics covered. You still get a V6 too, if that's what you're looking for, and it'll just be a little cheaper. But yeah, I think this just suffered from the price inflation that everything did, because a fully spec'd out Canyon in 2020 was, I think, $9,000 less.
And it's funny, you get the price inflation, and you also like look clearly what happened here is a drop in quality, right? Like this interior, I wasn't in that previous generation, but
so
I don't think
it felt better built. Like the materials weren't as nice, but it was better built.
Right.
But yeah, you do lose out on some. Like, they need first model year. Maybe they'll fix it. I doubt it, because this is structural. This is not.
That's just
building it wrong. So I don't know. There's a niche market between going for a lower spec Colorado, or a mid-spec Silverado, where you kind of like in between. There's somewhere this is.
I mean, listen, for me personally, this mid-size truck, I personally don't fully understand it, but that's just me, right? Personally, if I'm going to get a truck, I'm going to get a truck.
Right.
But if you're in the segment, for some reason, this mid-size truck fits your lifestyle, maybe save the $5,000 or $6,000.
And go for a cheaper one. Go for a Colorado.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good verdict. So as always, kind of awkwardly priced. But if you bought a Canyon, or you're looking for a Canyon, why don't you let us know? What makes you think of the Canyon? Why don't you step up to a mid-trim Silverado or any other of those trucks? Let us know. We're going to have more truck reviews coming very soon, so make sure to like and subscribe. We hope you enjoyed.
If you did, like you said, subscribe, hit the bell.
Hit the bell.
Drop a comment.
Drop a comment.
And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thank you, and goodbye.